everyone, and welcome to the show. A bit of a different show today, something we've never tried before. We want to cover the latest news and some of the latest topics and what's going. And today, we've decided we are going to hit the Mike Tyson, sounds weird when you're saying this, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight. We just want to put it out there and see what everyone thinks on this fight. It's something that a lot of people have got opinions on. So we want you in the comments to tell us what you think. We'll get your comments on the screen. Let us know. Hopefully we get some big boxing fans that can tell us probably even more than we know about this. Radian, we've got him on again, cracking guest. He is the main man today. He knows more about boxing than me and Paul. So he is the main boxing man today. How are you doing? You all right?
I'm doing very well. And thank you for inviting me on again to a bit of a different show. I wouldn't say I'm a boxing connoisseur or expert, but I used to do boxing for a couple of years, and I've also watched quite a lot of it. So I feel like my opinion at least has some substance to it.
Well, you did say to me, I said, do you know anything about boxing for this show? You goes, yeah, I know my boxing and I like to fight. So that is it, mate. He's like Bruce Lee, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Rocky Balboa, all in one. Radian is. He's the man for this. He is the man for this. Paul, how are we doing, Paul? You right? Are you ready for this one?
I'm all right, yeah. Something different. I'll sort of have the nostalgic view of pre-2000 boxing when it seemed to be more real and less rigged. But it's interesting. I'll give what I can. I'll give what I can. I'm kind of the amateur in all of this. So,
well, we're not. We just want. Generally, this show is about. We want to know how you feel about this fight, and I know there's a difference of opinion. Some people are thinking boxing's fake. This fight's fake. Some people might think it's real. We want to know what you think on boxing and what you think on this fight, this particular fight that is going to be on Netflix. And it's been advertised and advertised and advertised. It is the big topic, I suppose, going around. I know some people don't want to be interested in it and they say, no, I'm not watching it. It's not even real. I'm not even watching it. But it's something we've got to talk about because I have got the questions in my head like, is it going to be real or is it going to be fake? And that's what we'll talk about, I suppose. I mean, on the screen, I'm just going to pop it on first. And then we'll drop our opinions. It's Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. I can't really say Jake Paul. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. We'll say it like that. This is Mike Tyson. Like, this is him now. Just before the fight. This is his last training session. It said on that picture. After his last training session. And for 58 years old, I hope I'm in that shape at 58 years old. He's a machine, isn't he? I think he's a born fighter to be in that sort of shape.
Mike Tyson, when I was a kid, I think he sort of started 86, 85, 86, something like that. And started at 18, knocked out the first guy that he came up against, I think, in a professional fight. Absolute animal. Different from usual. It's different from your sort of Franks, Frank Bruno and Oliver McCall before that. You had some big hitters, but you didn't have any of the hoo-ha and the press and the Don King, manager type behind anyone else. It was Tyson was a force on his own, even without the actual boxing. So when he came to fight Frank, for example, about 94, I think Frank had been world champion. Tyson had gone all of his matches unbeaten, I think. Possibly had lost one, but in the ring, an absolute friggin' animal, honest to God. And he looks very different there than he did in the 80s and early 90s, but you still want to go near him when he was angry because he would absolutely knock your block off.
Radiant, did you? I mean, it's something that I would look back on because I probably wasn't as into boxing then. So I think when I'm looking up at Tyson, I didn't follow him at that time, being a big fan of him, but I do look at how he used to fight back in the day. Have you looked back on Tyson?
Yeah, I'm too young to sit here and act like he was my time. He was before my time, 100%. But of course, I wouldn't say study per se, but I've like looked into him, and I've seen like what his game is all about because he's a big name in boxing, maybe even one of the biggest names. So of course, if you want to know a little bit more about boxing and the general history of the sport, you gotta know Mike Tyson. And I think, yeah, he used to look a lot more devastating, a lot more frightening, but I think he still looks good for 58 years old. I've actually got a guy in my gym who is also American. He's called Dudley, and he's 58 as well. He's a bit better shape than Tyson, but don't underestimate a 58-year-old in shape. They can always do something.
No, you do see sometimes you can peak as you get older. You know what I mean? Your metabolism slows down as you get older, so you can put on muscle pretty quick. I know when I was younger, I used to go gym a lot, and I used to really have to train hard to get in shape because my metabolism was that fast. I had to really keep building my muscle because it could go straight away. But I think now I'm a bit older, my metabolism's slower, my weight stays a little bit more. So I presume in my head, as you get older, it is easier to pack the muscle. But then sometimes it can work the opposite way. It is easier to lose the fat as well. Do you know what I mean? Some people struggle as they get older to get the muscle and keep it. But he does. He looks incredible shape. The comments I did see Emma say, neither of these two fighters can do the caterpillar or the worm like I did in the shorts. And basically, me and my daughter, we was dancing, as you'll probably see in the short. And in my head, I think I could do the Scotty to Watty. I'm thinking the worm's going to go good. Scotty to Watty in my head. I'm going to dive down and do the perfect synchronized worm. And when I went down, I literally did go down like a worm. I struggled to get back up. But yeah, I did try the worm on a short and it didn't do that good. But it was special. It was a special moment. Right, let's move on to this man. I'm interested. Like, do you like him? Do you like him? Like,
Do you want to start, Paul?
do you like him? Jake Paul,
He's
do
not
you like him?
the whole kind of Logan and Jake thing. Fair play to them. Do you know what I mean? They're multi-millionaires and they're good at what they do. Do I like them personally? Not really. Not really. But as I say, they're good at what they do. Fair play to Jake Paul. It's not like this is just something else, like a sort of one-off that he does. He's had boxing matches and he's obviously, I think he's had 10 and lost one and won the rest. And generally it's been against, it started off sort of against people who were sportsmen, who weren't boxers either. And then he's gradually moved into people who are fighters or then boxers. So fair play to him for doing it. And he obviously trains hard, but there is a whole story and narrative behind what they do. And, I'm sure they've got lots of people who like him, but there's lots of people who don't. And I'm one of those who's more of a Tyson fan in this match. I'd love Tyson to go against the grain and knock a YouTuber on his ass.
On this picture, I want to point out this picture. There was a quote on it. It was off X, and there was a quote on it that said Jake Paul is packing a lot of weight on the stomach, and Tyson should go for his body. When you look at his body on this picture, he's all rounded on the shoulders. He does look big on the shoulders, but he doesn't look very fast to me. And Radian, you're someone that goes gym quite a lot and stuff at this current moment in time. What do you think of his shape? And then you can tell me what you think of him.
Oh, like boxing is a bit of a weird one because, as we also see with Tyson Fury, you can be in quite bad shape and still be very good at boxing if you just you know how to manipulate your body and how to maneuver it around. I think when I look at his shape in particular, his arms are looking quite big. I would maybe even say a bit too big for boxing because it's very important to not have any excess fat on your arms when you're boxing because you're using them all the time. If you go to the gym and put on like only 2 kilos or 4 pounds or what it is, and you try to box with that, it's a noticeable difference. And it's the same thing with fat. So I think he should have slimmed more there. I think the body, like the torso and the gut area, is not as important to be shredded. But I think in general his fat percentage is just a bit too high. And now the interesting
Now
thing
talk
is,
about him.
the interesting thing is, it might even just be fake. You know, I've seen him wear some crazy shit the last couple of times where he looks even bigger than that. So I don't even know if that picture is too real or if I believe it, to be honest. But if I do believe it, then yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And I think in general, oh, we got another guy in here.
Hey, we've got him in.
Big up, man, Dan and Paul, man. I know, so big up all the panel. But I've met Dan.
How you
and
doing,
Paul.
mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you? Are you guys good?
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you.
Doing well.
It's good to see you, man. It's good. Now, what have I missed? What have I missed, guys?
You haven't missed that much. We currently talked about a little bit on Mike Tyson, and then we've just popped this on the screen, and we're talking about Jake Paul now, and we've spoke about his shape. Radian just said that he looks like he's probably packing a bit too much on the arms and stuff like that. The tweet on this says Tyson should go for his body because he looks like he's carrying a lot of excess weight on the body. Talking about his shape, and then we're just saying what we think on Jake Paul. So I'll chuck it on you now. What do you think of his shape? And then tell us what you think of Jake Paul as a person.
Now, I think Jake Paul, I think the shape, I know he might look a little bit heavier because he probably is the heaviest that I've seen him in his career. But I think Jake Paul as a boxer, I think we can't look at these kind of Hollywood, or I don't want to say he's a Hollywood boxer because he isn't. I don't want people to look at him as the Jake Paul that was in Sky movies. Jake Paul deserves to. He's a good boxer. He is. He's a very good boxer. He's might have not been against any real kind of top boxers, but he's been against real like Tyron Woodley. You know, he's been against people with high experience in MMA. So for me, I think I've got a feeling Jake Paul will win. You know, I've got a feeling Jake Paul will win. I just think that as much as it's Iron Mike and as much as Mike's got the experience, I just think that Jake Paul. He's a guy that I think people are going to sleep on, but I think he's those Paul brothers, both of them. I seen Logan Paul. I ruled him out. I said Floyd Mayweather was going to win, and it went the distance. They're better than I give them credit for at first. So I think Jake Paul might actually beat him.
Well, he's actually favourite, isn't he? He's favourite as well, I think, Paul. Yeah, quite heavy actually. They won. Well, from what I've been reading, particularly sort of US sports sites and stuff like that, the general general opinion, sort of going through all the reports, is generally if Jake knocks him down, which he could, might find it very difficult to get back up. Sort of the age thing. I tell you what, though, if Tyson hits you in the face full on, you do well to get up and all. So it's more really about who actually gets that proper hit, because it doesn't matter whether Mike, and it said on it as well, this one article I read, whether it was Tyson Fury, I think, mentioned it, either 50 or 90, he's still going to knock someone out. Do you know what I mean? He'd still knock you out easily with a good punch. So be interesting to see. Sorry, Dan, go on.
Muscle
memory. I was just going to chuck on you. You touched on that who he's gone against, and you probably know more than me. I mean, I watch my boxing, but I've not took much notice on this, and this fight's caught me now. But I try and keep away from Jake Paul because I always think like fake boxer, and it's different. So we all put opinions out and we'll say what I think, but I always think fake boxer. But you've just said like he's a man to be taken seriously, and there's his fighters there, and. For me, I don't know my fighters that well. I do like my big fights. I always watch the big fights, but I do miss a couple of fights if they're not big fights. And what opponents there would you say are good? I mean, I would say Tommy Fury is the only one that he's come up against that's good there. Or would you say that he's come up against some good people and beat them there?
Yeah, I'd say Ben Askren. I think he had 20 years MMA experience. He was in the UFC, but wasn't that successful. Tyron Woodley probably is his biggest name. Tommy Fury, if it's for boxing, Tommy Fury is probably the best boxer, and he did lose to Tommy Fury, and it was by decision. It was close. Well, I say it was close. To be fair, Tommy Fury deserved to win, but I think that he's not facing Mike Tyson in his prime. That's the only reason why I'm not going. He's not facing anywhere near to Mike Tyson in his prime. That's the problem. He's facing a Mike Tyson that hasn't really been in the ring properly since 2005. A guy who, let's be honest, even if he does punch him and let's say he does knock him off balance, or let's say he does get past the first round, I don't know if it goes the distance. Can he handle Jake's stamina? Because Jake can go the distance. He's 20, how old? 27, 20, 28. Can he go the distance with Jake Paul? I don't know. And Jake Paul has got the power. We've just mentioned his arms. I don't know if he can handle that if that goes the later rounds. So that's my only thing.
No, you make a good point. And what you're saying, I do think that his tactic's got to be to just knock him out early. That is what I'd say. Like you say, the longer it goes on, the more you'd think it falls into Jake Paul's hands. And I'm going to put the big question on everyone now, and we can all say what we think. I'll put it on. We'll pass it to the right. We'll go Paul, and then we'll go Radiant, and I'll put it on you, and I'll ask you the question. And in the comments, let me know, because it is the big question. Do you think that this fight is real or fake?
I think it's fake. I think it's fake just because I think that it's Netflix. It'll make them both a lot of money, and I just think that Jake Paul's smart. It's either fake or that Jake Paul's just really smart, and he's not going for somebody that he knows that he would lose against, or that somebody he knows that Mike Tyson, even though he's Mike Tyson, he's not the same Mike Tyson. Rather than if he went against somebody the same age in the same weight class. Even they don't need to be the same. They don't need to be a champion, just top 5. I don't think he would be able to handle a top 5 in his weight class right now. So I think it's fake, but it'll be good to watch. But I think it'll be fake.
That's your opinion. Well, there is rumors that the reason I'm asking this question because you would have seen it yourself. People are saying that Mike Tyson's already had a pay to lose, and he's being paid to lose the fight, and he's going to get paid no matter what. But I don't know. We are going to debate on this. Let us know in the comments. Keep it coming in. The topic is this fight fake or is it real? Paul, I'm going to chuck it on you now. Do you think it's fake or do you think it's real?
Yeah, I'm not naive enough to think that it's not like it's totally as it used to be, sort of, without speculation, in the 80s, 90s, where it wasn't as streamed and pay-per-view and this, that, and the other. There's definitely a narrative about it, without a doubt. That's why I hope it is like that, because if it's Mike of old, he loves to go rogue. Do you know what I mean? There were people who were paying absolute extortionate amount for tickets in the 90s. And they'd go Wembley or in the States, Vegas all the time. You know, this is going to be a massive match. They'd be there for hours. You know, Mike could walk in after the walk-ins and all that. Don King, hair all the way up to there. And then 3 seconds later, Mike, bam, first round, person down. Everyone had already paid their money. They had none of that. You know, it was basically you were going there and it was a proper fight. It wasn't a story. It wasn't a fairy tale. So I kind of hope, part of me hopes that it is rigged for the narrative, but I'd love Mike to go rogue. I just think, oh, fuck it. Because I've got me 20 million. I've got me 20 million. So that's fine. I'll just bam, knock him down and we can go again. You know, that'd be awesome. I'd love that for sure.
Radiant, I'm going to chuck it on you. What do you think? Like I've already mentioned, there are rumors that the story's already written. Let's just say that the rumors that who's going to win is already put in place, and they just need to go by that. And I think the story is that Jake Paul is rigged to win. That's what a lot of people are thinking. What are you thinking, Radiant?
Well, like I'm probably half of Paul's age, but my mind is just like his. You would think a young guy like me would lean towards Jake Paul or something, right? But I really don't like the guy. Like I said, I don't know what's fake and what's real with him. I feel like everything he does is quite fake. I've got a huge respect for the fact that he's become a big, rich guy and multimillionaire, and he's doing well for himself. But I care a lot about honor, and I care a lot about doing it the right way. And I don't think all these fake fights and all these narratives and all this entertainment business is the right way to do it. When I think about boxing or MMA or fighting in general, it's about honor and it's about beating the other guy. I don't care about anything in regards to entertainment. You're not there to entertain. You're there to win a fight, right? And I just don't think this is a fight. I think this is a show. This is an entertainment for people. Some people find it entertaining. I don't personally. I like watching fighting, but that's definitely one thing. And I simply see Jake Paul losing because it would ruin his reputation a lot to lose to a 58-year-old.
Yeah, well, go on. Sorry, go for it.
As well, then, would this, let's say if Jake Paul would win, do you think it would damage boxing in any way? Would people, because in my opinion, boxing is already damaged right now. Right now, it's kind of damaged with the whole kind of bringing in Ngannou and stuff and bringing in the next guys. And then Ngannou he rocked Fury and all that. It kind of messed it up a little bit even before that. But would it be bad for boxing, let's say if Paul won and beat Tyson?
I think it's a very good question because I genuinely think the boxing has reached the bottom. As you say, like bringing people that aren't boxing people into boxing just for the money has ruined the ethics of the sport. I don't think it would do too much damage as it has already been damaged if Jake Paul won, because he's beating, yes, one of the big names, but he's 58-year-old. So like, yeah, what can you expect here? It will definitely do some damage to some people, but I don't think boxing as a whole would take a big hit here if Jake Paul wins, because people know it's an entertainment, right?
I mean, I love.
Going to say on that.
I love.
Go on, Paul. Go for it.
No, go on, Dan. You go. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say I agree with you. I think that it's like anything. If a non-footballer come and played football and he was good at it, it'd make footballers look like their profession is easy and pointless. And I think boxers probably feel the same, that they've worked all their life to be a really good boxer. And all of a sudden, some fighter that UFC comes and he puts up a good fight, and it makes boxing look like it's nothing. And it just massively downgrades the sport for me. It does downgrade the sport. When you've got a world champion like Tyson Fury, and then Ngannou comes and looks like he can beat him, well, looks like he probably did beat him that fight, it takes away all the value of what Tyson Fury is. I don't think you should play around with stuff like that. I think a big part of it was that Tyson Fury didn't take it seriously because he didn't think that he's a boxer. But that's why I say that's where it clashes, and it's playing around. It's making people think he's boxing, all that. So Tony Bell, you mentioned it. You've got to watch, because this could kill boxing. It could kill boxing, and it scares me as well, because I really, and I'll put it out there now, I am really, really hoping that it's not fake. I am praying to God. And even if the comments, by the way, it says it's not rigged. You don't know what you're saying, but right, it's just what people are saying. This is the reason we're live, to put stuff up there out in the open of what some people are saying, and some people have said that. So we're talking about whether we think it is. If it is rigged, and they're saying if you lose, Tyson will pay you more, which is the conversation, I'll be really frustrated with that. But I'd like to think that even if it was rigged and Tyson's got an agreement, that when he actually fights, he'll just say, you know what, I'm going to break that agreement and just knock him out because I am really hoping that. I am really hoping if it is rigged, that Tyson just turns into Tyson and smashes this guy up. Because for me, I think, on what you've just said as well, I think Tyson needs to just smash this guy up, put him to bed, make it look very dangerous that these non-boxers are fighting boxers, and probably put a stop to it, because we all seen frigging Fraser Clark get the knock to his head. It looked like he had a hole in his head, Fraser Clark, when he was boxing. Boxing's a dangerous sport, and that's a boxer against a boxer. You start putting YouTubers against a proper boxer, it won't be long, for me, in my opinion, it won't be long before someone gets seriously hurt. because you take one of those big heavyweight punches to your head, it can kill you. When I seen Frazier take that punch, because Frazier he grew up in my town, and I thought to myself, like, when I seen Frazier take that punch, because I used to say, I used to know him a little bit, like say Archer and stuff. And when someone comes from your town, you watch it. And I was watching Frazier Clark against it. When he took that punch and his jaw looked like it was out, I was like, whoa, oh my days, you feel it. So boxing is a dangerous sport, I think, and you've got to be careful. I hope Tyson knocks him out. I really do hope it's real, and I hope Tyson knocks him out. The last video I watched, Tyson was saying, I ain't a press person, and you've probably seen it saying about him losing, and he goes, I ain't gonna lose. I ain't gonna lose, and that makes me think more like it's real. Do you know what I mean?
Well, this like the picture that I've got behind me is a young Mike Tyson against Spinks. You can't see. I'll move out of the way. There's Spinks on the floor. Spinks was his champion. Tyson took no time at all. First round total knockout. And that set him up, you know what I mean? And it was then going on through it. I mean, Tyson lost against Buster Douglas, 1990, I think it was. That was his first time that he lost. That was massive news. Massive news. I remember just coming in from being out with my mates and saying, guess what? Tyson's lost against Buster Douglas. And my dad said, oh, thanks for telling me. I recorded it. So I ballsed up on that one, but the thing was that what you're saying about it being rigged or about things combining now is that we've sort of had it for the last 15, 20-ish years, because we had, I mean, Mayweather and McGregor. You know, McGregor's a fighter, but you had two areas, two different disciplines, that's the word, two different disciplines joining together. And I didn't mind that. And I particularly liked it when Mayweather won, because it almost sort of put a line under that argument. It's a boxing match. If it was MMA, I'm sure Conor McGregor would have won, but it just kind of put a line under it. And then we had a little bit of a lack of champions with a bit of personality about them. It kind of went a bit dull for a few years, and then you had, obviously, in the heavyweight game, you had Fury come in, and that was a bit more interesting. But at the same time, you kind of had these YouTubers starting to come in and starting doing boxing, and disciplines were kind of being taken over. And it's sort of, with Joe Public, you're having blue collar boxing and stuff like that. You're having lots of people who are manipulating boxing as an art for entertainment. If you've ever gone to see blue collar boxing at an event where it's dinner and beers and all that sort of stuff, and one of your mates who's working in an office or something ends up having a boxing match against someone else, it's all manipulating and sort of becoming distorted. So it's up to boxing to try and keep everything as separate as it can, but you've got to entertain, but you've got to get a bit of trust in the consumer for it as well, because of this YouTube stuff, and because there's been some dodgy decisions, and everyone has a rematch clause, and do you know what I mean? And some of the fights you're thinking, well, is no one going to throw a punch for the first 5 rounds? People are sort of wondering which is fake. You think the YouTube stuff is, and they're kind of creeping into some of the other boxing games as well. So it's up to boxing to try and get its credibility back. And I would love Tyson to just floor the argument, even if he is 50 odd. I really would.
I got another picture here. There he is, look. There he is. And I'm sorry, but that just makes me want to knock him out. I literally want to spark him just for the chicken on the head. Don't know what the aim is to wind it. And I'm surprised Tyson ain't already thrown a punch at him.
It's during a sparring session, isn't it? It is during a sparring session.
But
there was another one though. He had like Street Fighter kind of hair in one of his fights. Absolutely huge, bright blonde, sticking up hair like that as well.
He did
like an absolute tool.
That's what I'm saying. This is why I agree with all of you. I think that it would be an embarrassment for boxing. I think even if we look at the recent stuff of like Ngannou and Fury. Like, if Ngannou won that match, which I think he should have gotten decision, and he beat Tyson for the first time, but then Ngannou ends up getting knocked out by Anthony Joshua, who clearly isn't the best heavyweight right now, who ends up getting knocked out by Dubois, it would have just been, it's just a mess. It would have just been a mess. And I think the only good thing is about this match is that it's not going to really affect Mike Tyson too much. Like, everyone will know that, yeah, it's even though we might lose, yeah, we know what he could do in his prime. But it's, for me, that's where I look at it and I'm just like, surely it must be fake. Like, which boxing matches on Netflix? Like, which boxing matches have really been on Netflix? You know what I mean? Like, why is it going to Netflix? So
Yeah,
it's a good
that
point.
makes it feel planned. The Netflix does make it feel planned. Another thing, a video that I just recently listened to before we come on was Tony Bellew saying, "This is like a granddad. You shouldn't be fighting against a man that's 58 years old. At Jake Paul's age, you should have more respect for a man that's 58, not just a man that's 58, a legend. Do you know what I mean? Mike Tyson, a legend of boxing." Shouldn't even want to probably smash into his face and knock him out at 58. I'd probably feel bad. I mean, he's 58 years old. That is and I think that's a good thing to say. Tony Bellew was at the press, which you're probably seeing as well. He was there with the. I think Paddy Power told him to do it with the granddad there, saying, "Is this your next fighter?" Trying to hint that you shouldn't be fighting someone this old. But you know what? I get it, and I completely agree with that because you've got to respect your elders. But I still look at that man there, and he hasn't got that young blood. You know, the young blood in where if you say anything to him, he'll freaking bite your ear off. He hasn't got that because I think as you get older, you lose. You still got that snap in you, but I think you start to mellow after you've had a lot of life experiences in you. I think as you get older, you mature a little bit and you're a bit calmer. I like to think anyway, but. I hope he's still got that young blood in him because he still looks a machine, doesn't he? I'd love him to smash him up looking at him there.
Oh, crackers, absolute crackers. Dan, I've got one or two other things put on the screen if that's all right.
Well, I'll just chuck the last two things on. So Jake Paul holds a 10-1 record, 7 knockouts in his career. His lone loss come against Tommy, which we mentioned. And then the last thing I wanted to say on it is that I said to my partner earlier on, I goes, £20 million just to get just put me in the ring. I haven't even been training, but I would literally go in that ring against any of them two for £10 million for half of that. Give me a wild card. This is what does my head in sometimes. See, this is the thing, right? Jake Paul, I ain't got nothing against, don't even know him, but what winds me up is he's got loads and loads of money. I'd love someone to get this shot against Tyson. Where it could change their life. Do you know what I mean? Where someone to get the shot like a Rocky wild card, where it could completely change their life. And then you'd think, you know what? He's not a boxer, but that'd be good. I think that'd be a better story for me. Maybe that's just me being soft, but I think it'd be a better story giving it to just putting it in a machine of anyone in the world and giving someone a wild card to fight Mike Tyson. It'll be their dream. And it'd just be a bit of a, like you say, planned fight where no one's going to hurt each other too much. And that person gets that much money. I think it'd be better than going into Jake Paul's bank, 40 million, when he's probably already got billions. That's one thing that frustrates me. What's your thoughts on the money? And then we'll move on to Paul's stuff. Am I just jealous?
You know what it is about the money. I think I can see what you mean. I just think Jake Paul brings a lot to the fight. I think with the amount of views and the amount of people. This is what I mean when I say he's smart, he's clever, and his brother's Logan, he's doing his prime stuff, and then Jake he's been doing his own stuff for years. And I think it's just Jake is just smart. I think that's one thing that I'll give him when it comes to marketing himself and making himself a businessman. I have to give him credit. He's very good at it. And I think that's why he's there. And to be fair, he does draw a lot of attraction. If Mike Tyson was against it, let's say somebody that wasn't as popular, like even somebody maybe on the YouTube that might not be as popular as Jake Paul, it wouldn't get this amount of, I don't think it would get this amount of attraction. But because Jake Paul is one of those guys that he knows how to irritate people, I think that's why it's getting a lot of traction.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. He's a great marketer. His marketing is spot on, and he's very good at it, and that's why he's so rich and so popular and such a big name. I just think I also like to blame the boxing people for this because, as Paul said, it all started with McGregor and Mayweather, and we all know he's called Money Floyd Money Mayweather. He cares about money, but the sport dies for me when money is put above the art of the sport. When you are one of the best boxers, even if you were offered 20 million, 50 million to fight someone who clearly doesn't know boxing, you would say no because you want a good fight, right? If you're a real boxer, that's how real boxers think. But if you're a businessman who wants money, of course you don't care who you fight. Tyson Fury doesn't care who he fights. Mayweather doesn't care who he fights. Nobody cares who they fight. They just want the money. And then you can talk about, okay, is it fake? Is it real? Because when it's all about money, they don't want to hurt each other. But and that's the whole problem. It hasn't been a conversation about who's gonna win due to their abilities or due to how they will fare against each other. It's all a conversation about, is it fake or real, because who will gain the most, who will get the most money from this. And that's why I put a huge asterisk towards anything that happens in these sort of boxing fights, because yes, it's always tough to get in the ring, but it's different getting in the ring with a proper fighter who's fighting just to fight, and with a guy who's doing it for money. And that's basically my take on the whole thing, you could say.
Yeah, I agree. With
I'd
you. And
say it started.
there was a good touch on it with you, Paul, just a minute ago, because I think you was right. I think there was a point in boxing where a lot of the personalities of the boxers was really boring, and because YouTubers have obviously got good personalities, that's why they're YouTubers. They take off when they get into boxing, and I think these YouTubers or any people like that, or these UFC fighters like Conor McGregor, added that personality into boxing. But I think I really, really like Usyk. And I didn't mind Tyson Fury, but I like Usyk more now because I think Usyk's got a wicked personality. I like him. He dances, he thinks, and he's got a good personality. So I do feel that the personality is coming back into the boxers now. I do. You've seen Tony Bellew go on I'm a Celeb as well. I think the boxers have got personality. I just think that the boxers need to know that they need to bring out the personality and show the personality more. I think now they know, and now the boxers are starting to realise, so with social media and stuff like that, let me show my personality. The boxers actually do want to show their personality more, and I think I'd like to think that the standard of boxing can get back up where these YouTubers can't touch them, because I think the standard is high, and I'd like to think it could get back up where the YouTubers can't touch them. Right, Paul, what you got there, mate?
Yeah, before I just put that on as well, I'll just sort of come back to that. Is the thing that he had personality in the 90s. No, it wasn't heavyweights and stuff, but Lulu says that she didn't like Prince Nassim Hamid, and Chris Eubank was a right tosser. But the thing, so no one liked them. But the thing is, you would watch them because they were good boxers. Do you know what I mean? And you were hoping that they would get. Well, you're hoping they would get knocked out, but they're really good boxers at the same time.
Sometimes you watch them to get knocked out, though, don't you? Sometimes if they irritate you, you watch them to generally get knocked out. There are some where you think, oh, I'll watch them, see if they get knocked out.
Yeah. I'm just going to fly through these, but it's just one or two things about the fight which are a little bit unusual for this one, because is it an exhibition? I don't know what sort of title you give it, really, but obviously it's in Texas. They're wearing 14-ounce gloves instead of standard 10s, apparently. This will influence the pace and strategy of the fight, as in slow it down, I presume. We had Nick on before. He noticed, he sort of mentioned about the difference as well. So you can still cause a lot of damage with 14-ounce gloves anyway. They're going to be 2-minute rounds instead of 3. And it's going to be 8 rounds instead of 10 or 12. So you've almost got like a reduced match and slightly different gloves as well. So there are 1 or 2 changes if people sort of didn't realise that. I just came across this tale of the tape just because it's ridiculous and hilarious. So you got a 57-year-old going against a 27-year-old, a former heavyweight champ against 20 million YouTube followers, a warrior tattoo against a dragon tattoo, favourite snacks, Evander Holyfield's ear, or chomping on raw cow testicle. Kid Dynamite against Problem Child. Tyson loves pigeons, apparently, although I don't know about that. Jake Paul
Yeah, he
likes
does,
a
he
pit
does
bull
like
and
his
golden
pigeons.
retriever. And I'll let you read the crimes, but they've. I mean, Mike's got that's a long tail of the tape crimes. God blimey, Jesus. That's the card as well. That's the full fight card. So you got a few, and like I think, like Nick said, or he said earlier on, Katie Taylor is the super lightweight champion in the women's. So that should be a half decent fight. I remember watching her on the last set of fights that came up on a thing. Bruno as well. That's what Emma's asking about. Some of these as well. Obviously, you got your tails of the tapes and stuff like that. That's Logan Paul. But I just wanted to, just because I couldn't find tail of tape for the other in terms of reach as well, because Tyson's incredibly quick, and not the longest reach in the world. But so Paul might have a slightly longer reach, but Tyson is so fast. I know he's older, but you've seen him in training as well. When he's on the bags, it's absolutely ridiculous, the speed that he goes at. So the last time Tyson had a fight was 2005. So it's been, although he did face Jones Jr. in an exhibition, but he's not fought very much at all in the last 20, 25 years. And then you showed the records before for that. And then you showed the purse as well. Paul said that he's here to make 40 million, knock out a legend. He might make 40 million, but I don't know whether he'll knock out a legend or not. It's going to be interesting.
He's going around in the press like do you know the people fighting? He was like, "I bet you £1 million that I win. I bet shook the hand. I bet you £1 million that I win. Shook the hand. I bet you £1 million." And they was all shaking his hand and stuff like that. So he's a wind. He knows what he's doing, doesn't he? He is a wind-up merchant. But I just hope, I'd love him to get knocked out and knocked out hard.
Massive
sounds harsh. Sounds harsh.
No, I'm with you. Massive stadium as well. Do you know what I mean? Dallas Cowboys. Time, it is, and it's huge. Time wise, over there, the card is sort of starting from 8 p.m. Over here, 1 a.m. start for the card. They expect the fights to generally be around 4 a.m. So, can you record on Netflix anymore? Watch it as soon as you get up, I suppose, unless you're willing to stay up. But that's where we are. That's where we're up to.
That one, it depends.
Go on, go for it.
I was going to say that one, it depends, because Paul, even though it's a big match, it's not really, whoever wins it, there's no real kind of implications. That's the reason why I might watch it the next day. If it was one of those that was going to affect the title right now in their prime, Usyk Fury right now, they're both at their best, I'd stay up. But if it's 4, I thought it was earlier. If it's 4, then yeah, I might watch the Barrios fight, depending on what time that goes on. But yeah,
I do. That's the thing. I do like to watch them live because I feel like I'm fighting with them when I watch them live. Same with anything. You do like to watch it when it's happening, but then sometimes I have done what you've done. I've just left it and woke up in the morning and just seen who's won and then caught the clips of the best parts of the fight. But I do like to watch it. If I wouldn't have watched that Usyk Tyson Fury fight live, it wouldn't have felt the same. Like watching Usyk when Tyson Fury was that big and that cocky, watching the heart of Usyk come back, it was like Rocky. It literally was like watching Rocky against Drago, with Usyk, because you looked at Usyk in the ring at the start and you think, wow, he's so small. Yeah. But then once he rocked Tyson Fury, Usyk's got a heart of a lion. I loved it. I generally loved it. I was jumping up and I was like, yes. And I think if I wasn't watching that live, it wouldn't. This fight's going to be nothing like that, like you've just touched on.
I get what you mean, though, because even me, I was the same. Even with the Dubois fight against Joshua, I wanted Dubois to win, and then when he knocked Anthony Joshua, I was also celebrating. So I can see it's one of those fights that you do want to watch live, but I don't know. Maybe over the weekend. Maybe Mike Tyson may have another interview like he did today, which makes me want to watch the fight.
You'll be up. You'll be there. We'll probably will. We'll probably just wait, get the alarm set at 4, watch it, and go back to sleep. Right, we are at the end of the show now. We cracking, loved having you all on. It's been a good conversation. Something we haven't touched on before, but maybe we might go live on a couple of boxing events because we're interested. Why not? It is what's going on. We like to keep up with all the main events and topics. There's been quite a few on, so we're happy with that. We're going to finish the show. We normally, when we've got the football shows, we finish with a score prediction, don't we? So we might as well finish with who we think is going to win this and how are they going to win it and what round are they going to win it. So let us know in the comments, who do you think is going to win? Is it, and how do you think they're going to win? I'll chuck it on. We'll go different order. We'll go Radiant, Paul, and then we'll go up to you, Certified. We'll go for it, G Certified.
I'm saying Jake Paul wins by unanimous decision.
Jake Paul, unanimous decision. Paul, what are you going for?
That's what I would have said with my head. My heart is Tyson, round 1, 30 seconds.
I agree.
Get your answers in the comments, people. Get your answers in the comments. Which one are you going with then? So you can only go with one because when we look back on
round
this, Paul,
I'm going with heart. It's all heart. Heart's on fire, Dan. Heart's on fire. Just like
on fire. Love it. Rocky Bibo. Yes, get in the Lamborghini. You can't win, Rocky. You can't win. This is what it's going to be like. Get Adrian saying to Tyson, you can't win before the fight will win. Trust me. Get Adrian talking to him. Right. Who do you think's going to win?
I think it's going to be Jake Paul by TKO round. I'm going to say round.
It's going to be heartbreaking.
Yeah, I'm going to say round 7.
Oh.
Let me point out that he did say he wants Tyson to win, but he's just saying how it is. He does want Tyson to win. It's going to be heartbreaking to see Tyson. I don't want to see him see stars or get knocked out. The problem that scares me with Tyson is I don't think he'll give up. The referee will have to stop it because he's a proper fighter, isn't he? I think he'd have to seriously get knocked out to stop. I think he'll keep getting back up, won't he, if it's a proper fight. Right, get your comments in to tell us how you think it's going to go. What round do you say then? 7th?
Yeah, 7. I think it'll be late, but I think as the match goes on, I think I don't see I don't know. I know his training videos, he's been good, but I can't. I don't know, man. It's just not Jake Paul. Those training videos, it's different. It'll be a different. Yeah.
The ring is different, man. The ring is something else.
Yeah, it's just different. Even he was so the size of Jake Paul before. Maybe that might be a disadvantage, though. It doesn't mean because he's put on weight and that he's put size on that that's gonna work in his favor. But it does look like he's taking it, and he's been planning for this for the last 2 fights. Then Tyson, I think something happened with Tyson. Then he had to pull out. Then now he's fighting again. So he's been waiting a long time.
Yeah. And if you're talking about sort of body and looking fit and everything else, Andy Diaz, Joshua. Yeah. I mean, Christ.
Yeah, that's true.
No one's seen even me when I see that match, I couldn't believe my eyes. But that's boxing, though. Anything can happen. It's not that Mike can't win, as Dan said before. I want Mike Tyson to win. I want obviously Iron Mike to win and be victorious, and because it's Iron Mike. But it's one of those things that I look at it, and if I have to be real, it's something where I have to think: is he? I know he's 50. I know it's just age. Age is just a number. But in boxing, ages, you do have to consider the age. In boxing, you do. So maybe the experience the experience is also another important thing. But I just think Jake Paul. He's shown me enough against Tommy Fury. I've seen enough against Tommy Fury, that he can box. So
but you make a good point. I'm going to give my prediction as well, and then I'll put the ones in the comments on before we end the show. But I really thought with how much crap he gave Tommy Fury, he really did play dirty on the wife and everything. And I thought, you know what, Tommy Fury's going to kill him. I really thought, and at the end of the fight, I thought, Tommy Fury, you ain't done much to him there. I honestly thought I think Tommy Fury would have felt a bit stupid. Because I think Tommy Fury and his family would have wanted him to have done more and completely made him look stupid and sparked him out. But he couldn't even beat him. So I think you make a good point that this fighter is probably better than what some people think. He is probably better than what some people think. Right, my prediction. I'm going to go for Tyson, the Iron Man. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go for him to bite his ear off. I'm going to go for him to knock him out round three. And I think the most important thing is Tyson makes it his fight. He's got to make it his fight because he's got to get in at him, under his skin, and make like you lot have just said, make him take advantage of that he's not a boxer. Because Tyson knows more about him in the boxing stuff. Do you know what I mean? Make the moves of a boxer, catch him out where he's just a bit slow on the turn. Because you see that with boxers, if there's one split second where you're not on it, boom, you take the punch and then that's it. They're onto your life. And I think if Tyson does rock him, I think he'll finish him. If he does rock him early, so I'm going to go Mike Tyson. It could be what some of you have said. It could be Jake Paul. I just don't want it to be Mike Tyson. Round 3, all guns blazing from the start. What have we got in the comments, Paul? I think there's just Lulu that's put it in what she thinks.
Yeah, well, Nick thinks it'll be a bloodbath if Jake Paul doesn't get knocked out. So that'll be interesting. And yeah, Lulu thinks Tyson knockout round 3. I mean, the thing as well with it being shorter, 2-minute rounds, 8 rounds altogether. Yeah, more likely to go the distance, possibly. Be interested. But I mean, there's going to be lots of Puritans out there, and I agree, who's like, oh, I can't look at it. I don't want to know anything about it. But it is interesting. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like a celebrity death match. There's a show that should come back.
It is.
Right, almighty. Do you know what I mean?
They'll still look. Some people always do that. They always say like, "Oh, I'm not interested in this. I'm not interested in it," but then they secretly watch it. They just like saying they're not interested. They don't want to fall for the trap because they know that they'll make a lot of money if you watch the fight. They know Jake Paul, like I moaned about, he's already rich. They know he makes more money if you watch it. But sometimes people just make money. You've got to accept it and just watch it. If you enjoy it, watch it. Get on it. Give it a watch. I'll be watching it. Right, everybody, we are finishing the show. It's been a great chat. Really enjoyed it. Do you want to give yourself a shout out? Because we are football related. Me and Paul from the Toffee Blue Cast, we host the Toffee Blue Cast. I've got a bone to pick with you. I was on a football channel last night, and I was giving a lot of stick to Manchester City, because you cannot let them win the league. You can't let them win the league. What are you doing?
Now, you know what it is.
What are you doing?
No, what it is, Dan, a lot of things has changed since last season I was here. A lot of things have changed, but this isn't the same team. But you know what it is? What I'll say quickly on the football thing is that, unfortunately, I do think the title will be going to
No. Chelsea need to pull the socks up. Chelsea are going to do it.
I don't want to say it, but yes.
If you ain't got the eye of the tiger, then I'll pass it on to Chelsea or Arsenal to go and do it.
Come on, not Forest.
When we'll beat them in the derby. Because everyone's scared of them at the minute. We'll beat them in the derby, show the beatable, and soon those 9 points will be gone because everyone will pluck up the courage to actually beat them.
Bro, a hat trick.
Hey, yeah. Bro is on the grass.
Bro's on the grass. Bro's on the grass.
What I'm saying though is because we go to Liverpool, I think on the 1st of December. So and with the injuries that we got right now, I don't know, man. I just think that if the gap goes to 10 points before Christmas, then we may as well just start planning for next season.
Well, you beat them on the 1st, and then we'll beat them on the 7th. And then someone will have caught up by that point, surely.
No,
this is why I got you on. This is why there was a reason. There's always a motive with me. I'm cleverer than Jake Paul, and this is the motive. I got you on a boxing channel tonight to get you pumped, to make you feel like you can get going now, to get you revved up. This is your training in the snow. You've got to, after this show, mate. Manchester City are going to win every game this season to stop them. I hope so.
We got to hope so because our form right now, it's like Everton right now. Everton are doing better than us right now. Even Everton. Honestly, if we were going to Goodison Park next weekend, I'd be worried. I'd be worried next weekend. Anywhere we go, we just look very, very vulnerable. And the defense is vulnerable. The attack don't look comfortable. It's one of those times which is obviously before the success, you've got to obviously back the team. You know, and I say that to the fans because some of our fans they say, "Oh, Jack Grealish this or Phil Foden this or Doku this," but we've just got to back them and see where we'll finish the season. But it's not going to be the same. We're not the same team.
It is the first time things haven't gone your way, and I think that's when you start to see what your fans are actually about. When things don't go your way, do you know what I mean? Because Manchester City are that used to winning every game, that when it's going wrong now, you've got to make sure you don't turn on your players and probably stick behind them, because you have got a good team. So I think Pep might sort it out for you. Radian, chucking it on you. Give yourself a shout out, plug yourself up, and then we'll finish the channel.
Yeah, Albanian football, as you can see. That's what I specialize in. Every Albanian player, every Albanian team. We've got national team games in 2 days. If you want to watch it because it's going to be hell in Albania for both Czechia and for Ukraine. So give the channel a watch and we'll see what happens.
I do love watching Radiant's passion for Albania. You know, it feels like he's at every training session telling you how good the players are. He literally knows everything about every player. He monitors how every player does in the Champions League and stuff like that, Albanian players. You should be the Albanian manager, Radiant. You really should.
I agree.
I'd vote for you. I really would. I'd vote for you. Right, everybody, we're finished. We had a little talk on football. We couldn't not, but it's about the boxing match. It's a big boxing match. I'm looking forward to it now, to be fair. It always gets you a little bit more looking forward to it when you do a show on it. I'm going to drop the banner now, everybody. Have a boss night. Thanks all for coming on. Here we go. Big fight, I suppose. And then we've got Usyk and Tyson Fury next, so it'll get even better. There we go.